Hi. So last Friday was the opening night of Antigone, which Ryan directed. With our family in town for the wedding, they were able to come and see the performance. Before the lights went down, my dad leaned over and asked me about the lights that were above the stage, and I realized he did something that I do. We both looked up. And this is something that a lot of technicians do. I've noticed once we find our seats and sit down to watch a performance, oftentimes either after we've looked at the set, if the curtain's up, or while we're waiting for the curtain to go up and the show to start, we look up. We look at the lighting instruments and the sound equipment, and as well as just the general layout of the structure and building of the theater. I have a distinct memory of the first time my dad came to visit a theater I was working at. He walked onto the stage, and it was one of those rare moments where there was no set on the stage because we were in between load-ins. He walked to the center of the stage and he clapped once and very loudly. Now, this might seem odd, but it didn't surprise me and it didn't surprise the technical director. What my dad was doing was testing the acoustics of the theater. And after a few seconds of just standing there listening, he turned with a big smile on his face and commented that the theater was really well built with the acoustics in mind. This is not always the case, especially in places that were built not intending to be theater spaces. There's a local theater that we often work at that kind of just is in this underground location that it works well there, but it obviously was not designed with performances in mind. It's somewhat a black box, kind of more of a rehearsal space. But these are actually the locations that I enjoy looking up in the most because I enjoy seeing how the designers and technicians worked in the space and adapted to it to get as close to what the ideal situation is for the lighting or the sound or projections, whatever, or set, whatever it is that is going in. Now back to Antigone. It was a wonderful production. At times I was moved to tears and even surprised by a show that I've not only read, but I've watched and listened to it over and over when I was backstage in a production of Antigone years ago. And at no point did I feel the urge to look up. The production had completely drawn me in. I never had that moment of getting bored and wandering and thinking to myself, oh, I wonder how they built this set, or oh, hey, there's a special lighting instrument up there. I wonder when they're going to use that. And that to me is a sign of a really good production. The production is so good that I'm able to shut off the technical side of my brain and just purely enjoy what is going on stage and get so engrossed in the world of the play. When I'm running shows, especially when I'm stage managing and I can see into the audience, I enjoy looking at the audience during kind of slow times with cues and gauging how well the performance is going. There are certain things I look for. No one's flipping through their programs, no one's staring off into space, no one's digging into their purse or especially checking their phone, which they shouldn't even have out and should be turned off or completely silent. Don't put it on vibrate, that drives me nuts. What you want is a hushed but engaged audience. And ideally, when that final curtain falls or the final blackout completes, you want a moment of silence before the applause begins. And in that moment, the audience is leaving the world of the play and coming back into their own world. They're getting that moment of processing what it is they just experienced before getting up and applauding. Now, if you live in the Hampton Roads area, I highly suggest you go see Antigone, not only because Ryan directed it, and I'm pretty proud of him for that, but also because it's a really good show. Antigone's playing this weekend as their final weekend at Thomas Nelson Community College. It might be an ancient Greek play, but the themes are still relevant and resonate in today's society. So thank you again for watching, and I will see you tomorrow. Sorry for the lull in activity. Things got a little bit more busy during our wedding weekend. But I'm hoping to get back to every single day in VEDA. So this will be a vlog every day except for the wedding weekend in April. VEDA.